Welcome back, everybody, to episode number 82's after show for elemental shamanism stuff. Sitting down with Bink and Tech, talking about things and taking questions from chat room now for a little bit. So if you guys have them, here we go. Boop. There we go. Welcome back, guys. Little break there.
Yep. Nice to be back.
Gonna jump into this. If you have questions, you can throw it in chat or tweet at FinalBossTV on the Twitters. And we can talk about things and answer questions and whatnots.
Talk about things and stuff.
Exactly.
Highly exciting.
Yeah. That was I think a comment came up in chat during the grounding totem discussion where we had missed that you can use grounding totem on Iron Maiden somehow. Is it because will the Heartseekers be grounded? Or is the enveloping shadows groundable? Or none?
So enveloping shadows is not groundable. Heartseeker was groundable for the first week and now fixed.
It's gone now?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
I didn't
you can trust good old method to figure this out, and then it gets removed as soon as Blizzard GMs are watching them, you know, flying in the sky above them.
Oh, actually, people say the blood ritual, so the blood orb thing. Blood ritual? Oh, wait. You can ground the actual blood ritual like the cone cast? No way.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but it's almost irrelevant, you know? It's not one of those things it really matters.
I get it. Yeah, because like two inner wills ignores the entire spell effect on one person anyway, so... Meh. That seems kind of like, yeah, a little bit unnecessary.
Someone asked about getting to round 30 as elemental in proving grounds, and no, it is not fun. It is not easy. It is. It's possible. Yeah. I've done it, but it's not fun. It's definitely not fun.
I haven't even tried it.
Yeah, I mean, you can give it a try just out of pure curiosity to see the difference between Ali at that kind of DPS. I mean, at that style of DPS versus, say, for example, a Shadow Priest or a Hunter.
Right.
On Shadow Priest, I did it with my eyes closed. It was so easy. On Hunter, same thing. On Ali, I actually had to focus, you know, flask up, food up, etc., etc. It's definitely a lot more difficult.
Well, what eye level does Proving Grounds even like squish you to? Because I thought Proving Grounds scaled to you.
Oh, it doesn't squish you. It scales to you now.
Right.
So it's more the style of DPS as opposed to your eye level. Right. You know, because it's constant target switching, reapplying Flame Shock all the time. Yeah, it just gets it's very annoying. Very annoying. Not a fun time.
Target switching is a problem. It's a
target switching is a problem. Exactly.
And even in solo content, when you're switching from one mob to the next, it's a pain because you always want to cast Flame Shock first, so you can lava burst properly. But on the other hand, it's like I'm wasting all these lava.
I'm too lazy.
Shield charges. So, if you've got more than 10 lightning shield charges, Earth Shock and Lightning Bolt the damn thing. It'll die in the same amount of time, and you just don't have to worry about it. It's kind of boring.
There's a question from Fridge Door, I see.
Sure.
I think that's probably a good one for you, Bink. How is the crafted trinket for Ali? Do you think it's worth switching to Ali?
The crafted trinket's okay if you don't have, you know, mythic. Well, actually, which trinket are we talking about here? Are we talking about the alchemy?
Trinket, right?
Sandman.
Or are we talking about Sandman's Pouch, which is the inscription one? I was actually running with the alchemy one for a while. That's pretty good, especially with the versatility. But once I got my Micro Crucible, I switched it out. And I do have the Sandman's Pouch, but it's a little less useful, partially because it's crit, not haste or multi-strike. And crit's not entirely... it's a good stat, but on the other hand, it's not exactly exciting.
Yeah.
And the other part of your question, Fridge, switching elemental to switching from elemental or to elemental from enhancement, Mythic Blackhand. I would argue that enhancement now on Black Hand is fine. You basically tunnel with all your cooldowns with UU, Storm Elemental, and Primal Elementalist. So you have 3 huge cooldown waves, 1 for each phase, because you're a baiter in phase 2 most likely for the Demolisher cannons. So you basically tunnel for phase 1, do crazy burst damage, you drop down, you wait for your cooldowns to come back up again, you tunnel, and then you just stand around and bait for a minute and a half. And then in phase 3, you won't be soaking smashes. I don't soak smashes, so you just tunnel again for phase 3. But Elemental overall will do more damage in the fight. You're more worthwhile in the fight than Enhancement Shaman. I did about like 10.5 million over the course of the entire encounter, where my Elemental Shaman in the same kill did like 14. So, because they can do stuff during all of phase 2. But like, we're good phase 1 and phase 3 for enhancement, but if you're better at Elemental, just stay Elemental. If you don't have to learn enhancement for that fight, there's no reason.
And to add on to that, it completely depends what strat you do as well.
Oh,
I mean,
of course.
If you do the Monk strat and you're one of the people baiting the mortar,
right,
then you're going to be running around doing nothing. Whereas, I mean, our guild does the kiting strat. The boss moves around, sure, but the melee can still have close to 100% uptime on the boss,
Okay.
So a lot of the melee can do well. Or, if you're not one of the melee baiting the mortar, then you'll do fine. So yeah, it's definitely dependent. I mean, I definitely think Ali is better on Black Hand, but I don't think it's worth switching just for it.
Nah.
I mean, I see a question here from Kenji as well. As a raid leader, would there ever be currently a reason to take Elemental Shaman over any other range DPS to a raid? And do they bring anything you would bring them for? So the easiest answer, and I think we answered this on the show as well, that Bink was saying, is that it depends what part of the rating tier, per se, you're from. If you're at the top end, the cutting edge, world top 20, or aiming for world top 20, then no. There's no reason why you should bring an ally over a mage, a warlock, or a hunter. Anything else, it's fine. Absolutely fine to have in your raid. Good DPS and other things as well. And by the way, Bink, would you be able to confirm what Hexor Abuse said? Is that true? I'm not sure if you can see it in the chat. It's up a bit. Hexor's a well-known ally shaman. I actually know him, but I'm not sure if that's true. I haven't tried it, so I'd actually be interested if you know.
AoE bursting with Echo, Chain Lightning, EQ, Ascendance. You'll get 2 enhanced Chain Lightning procs. No, that's been fixed. That was the case where you multi-striked Chain Lightning, and because of the delay on the multi-strike, you could Chain Lightning Earthquake and then get a second enhanced Chain Lightning buff to drop down your second Earthquake. And yes, that was a thing, but they did fix it. So you can't do that anymore.
I mean, I know it's been fixed as a whole, but he's saying that it's still a bug in play now. Is that possible? I mean, it might be. I'd love to test it out of curiosity, yeah.
It's possible that it's still happening with Lava Beam and Ascendance, but generally speaking, anything that affects Chain Lightning affects Lava Beam. So
sure,
it's possible depending on how enhanced Chain Lightning procs, whether they just basically hooked it into the underlying mechanic or whether it was hooked into each spell individually. I guess the real answer is to test it and confirm it and have some logs and on Warcraft logs and see how it goes.
Right.
But I would say it probably doesn't work. Yeah, I would say it probably doesn't work based on
it feels like it's
changed.
Too much effort for the gain. Like if it did work, So I mean, someone's
small question in chat came from Rust. Which is the BIS ring for Elemental Shaman in BRF? Obviously, Legendary ring plus what ring?
Whatever you get, basically. I think there's 3 of them.
Yeah, there's 3.
If you've got a Mythic Crystalline Barrage from Heimel with Warforged or a socket, generally you'll want that. Otherwise, what have I got? I can't remember.
I mean, I use the Iron Maiden's one because of the pure eye level, because I have a Warforged one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Flame Ender
706
for me.
Yeah.
I am using, yes, I believe I'm using the same one. Akarog's Corrupted Seal.
Yep,
Where's that
that's
from?
the one. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that BRF eye levels got increased a further 5 made that ring even more BIS. Before it was barely, because if you had a Warforged Crystalline Barrage, the haste multi-strike was very, very good. But now with the 706 eye level, it got buffed by 5 eye levels, Mythic Warforged being 706, it's definitely better. The pure int, as well as the extra haste, is very good.
We didn't
Someone,
really...
There's a lot of questions. Oh
right, yeah.
Yeah,
So
there was a question back earlier on the multi-strike bonus damage nerf. I just thought I'd bring that up. It's, roughly speaking, a 5% nerf, but it means multi-strike's no longer super overpowered, and it's okay to not have multi-strike on a particular item. And in terms of stat balance, that's okay. I just hope that when they finally do their balance round towards the end of the PTR, that they actually, do some proper stuff and increase damage so that that nerf is counted somehow.
Okay. So the two things I wanted to bring up. So there's a question about, Sensation said that you were avoiding the question, Tech, about Elemental, like not bringing Elemental over a Warlock, Mage, or Shadow Priest even, or a Hunter. That we dunked into that about the ranged hierarchy discussion in the main show.
Yeah.
Sensations. That was like a 30-minute, well, probably 25-minute segment of the show comparing other range classes to Elemental Shaman, because you can even argue that they're probably the weakest in utility compared to any other range in the game, because they can't do certain mechanics or can't do certain things based on what other classes can do. So you can go back and watch the VOD or watch it on YouTube for that giant discussion. We can't get into that right now. Pete, you want to know about, do you think a 3 minutes that Ascension will stay like 3 minute cooldowns? You think 3 minute cooldowns like Ellie's will have a severe devalued them when maybe the Laser Ring come out and they're off every 2 minute cooldown? Well, that's a problem for everyone, PD.
The problem with Ascendance is that if you save it to use with the ring or use it on cooldown, it's effectively a wash either way. You won't get any extra damage. So you'll only use it on cooldown to make sure you get as many casts uses in as possible.
The only thing I would argue that point, though, is because of how the ring interacts. Because the difference we didn't talk about Ascension really between Elemental and Enhancement. Enhancement's Ascendance is very good at single target because we ignore armor. Whereas Elemental's Ascension, you get some more benefit for single target damage because everything crits because you're spamming Lava Beam. But your real benefit of that is actually ascending on Snap AoE because you AoE the poop out of things. So if there was a Snap AoE situation where you finding your strat that you can use the ring proc to do this, then you would ascend with the ring proc on Snap AoE, because you gain up all that damage you're AoEing, and then the person that has your ring proc initiated, your Snap explosion damage will be so good. Like, a lot better than if you're single targeting it. But that's the whole thing about testing the stupid ring, and we can't test on the PTR because it doesn't exist. So all these weird interactions are going to be...
I definitely think the ring interaction will be broken when it comes to AoE situations. If you're popping your ring for an AoE situation and a mage combusts, I don't even know what the burst will be. It might be 1,000,000 plus. You might be looking at Siege of Orgrimmar numbers.
The thing is, though,
it's just ridiculous.
You're not looking at the AoE damage you're doing. You're looking at the person popping the ring activation that then it blows up on the boss.
Yeah.
Like, if you can time AoE bursts to garnish more damage, and then that person explodes for single target damage on a boss, you'll chunk multiple percentages with that one activation.
Yep. Definitely.
That's why I think like Elemental's Ascendance is good in that regard, because you can game it. Ugh. Like I will gain nothing because my Ascension is only single target. But obviously I can time lots of Fire Novas in that period too. So
yeah. Definitely interesting. I mean, someone mentioned before in the chat about cooldowns, and we didn't get a chance, obviously, to talk about it because we were discussing other things.
Oh, okay.
But I think Bink probably has something to say, and I'll probably follow on from him. Definitely interesting with elemental cooldowns.
The problem is that if you leave aside the Fire Elemental 5-minute, which is completely underwhelming because it's long, low damage, and it's like I have to press a button now. Woohoo! The problem is with Ascendance being it's just basically you're casting your main damage spell for 15 seconds or more like 20 seconds if you've got Echo. And that's good. It feels good, but it doesn't feel like it's a lot more damage because you're adjusting your rotation rather than taking your rotation and adding 20% on top of it, like you get with other cooldowns. So it's relying on the difference between Lava Burst spam and your normal rotation in terms of how much DPS you actually get out of it. And because of that, it's not scaling as high as it would be with other classes in their percentage-based cooldowns.
Right.
Purely because you're just getting your intellect bonus from your potion or your trinket bonus, and that's just affecting your lava burst the same way as it would affect any other lava burst. There's nothing that's multiplying it to get the high damage that you would with other classes. I looked at Stormy's logs last week or the week before when someone in IRC was asking about Mythic Blackhand Phase 1. And he was doing 75k burst at the start with all his cooldowns, etc., etc. Mages and hunters were doing 125k burst with their cooldowns. And it's the same sort of thing as you look through the logs. There will be higher burst from other classes, but when you're looking at the non-burst stuff, Elemental's doing more. So because you tend to stack a lot of things with your cooldowns, it multiplies more for other classes, which means Elemental falls behind a bit.
Right.
And Ascendance feels less valuable as you go on and get more gear because it's a smaller increase over what you'd be doing normally. So fixing it is probably one of those things where they just have to tack a little extra thing on the top where it does an extra 5 or 10% damage. But when it comes to 7.0, that's when changing it. So sure, you turn into a little fire ascendant thing from Cataclysm, but you do your normal rotation, but it's a 25 to 30% damage bonus on top. And that feels cooler because it's ha! I've got this big damage buff rather than I'm sitting here spamming 2 or 3 or whatever your lava burst button is.
Right.
So it's
I would say for the most part, for like a single target cooldown, Ascendance doesn't really feel like it does too much really. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a different parallel because again, Blizzard, I don't think they planned to have Elemental and Enhancement honestly be good at 2 parts of damage. But then the other 2 parts that they're bad at, the other spec is better at than the other one. But that's how it actually is, though. Like, that's totally how it feels like. So, yeah Ascension feels really bad on a single target engage. But I'm sure many people remember back to using Ascension on, say, Siege of Orgrimmar fights. Like, oh gosh, the stupid dragon fight. And totally lava beaming to the high heavens and doing amazing things. Because that's kind of where it works.
I mean, even Siegecrafter Blackfuse, you lava beam on the mines. It lined up perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just ridiculous damage. You know,
So I think
Ally Shamans and Destrolox would be close to the top of mine damage pretty much every attempt.
This is where it falls into place, yeah. Because I know, like, I will burst on Mythic Blackhand on the pull with Storm Elemental, EM, and pre-pot, all the good stuff like that. There's no Heroism, though, on the first phase. And with Searing Totem down, because you can Searing Totem with Storm Elemental, obviously. And I'll do like 160, 140k on a good pull. But then, like, if I don't get wicked good RNG, I'll just slowly tick down, and our Elemental Shaman will slowly tick up. So we flip-flop. And of course, again, he beat me in overall damage in the fight, so by like almost 4 million. So it just depends, just what the difference in classes are. The one thing I didn't bring up on the show, if you're AoEing, you're chain lightning spamming and you're putting down your earthquakes and you get a lava surge proc, do you use the lava surge proc or do you keep AoEing?
You keep
AoEing.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Just wanted to, yeah, Galacross was, sorry, arrow, I totally forgot. So that was the thing I wanted to make sure happens for shamans. If you're AoEing, though, and it's on 3 targets, and one of the targets of the 3 die, or if you're doing 5 with the glyph and like 1 or 2 of them die, would you then use Lava Burst? You're not actually getting the full duration of your Chain Lightning, or still no?
Still AoE.
Still AoE?
If you go down to 2 targets, like with Iron Maidens, I
Then
would
you Lava
switch
Burst.
into a single target
Okay.
cleave rotation where
Okay.
I use normal target, a single target stuff, and Chain Lightning if the second boss is within range of my first target.
Okay. That makes sense. It's pretty good. I'm gonna take like maybe one more
Chain
and get out of
Lightning
here.
is the superior spell.
Oh, so Rust wants to know, should Ascendance be used in the start along with Int Pot, obviously, in Storm Elemental?
Yeah.
And should the second potion be saved for Storm Elemental to be back up again? If it's a long fight, like
Ascendance.
Yep.
It depends on
Save
it depends on where your fights go, though, Rust, because like you'll pre-pot on like, you know, like Mythic Gruul, and then you'll basically just wait for Ascendance to come back up again normally, and then you'll second pot just whenever. If you're an execute class, you'll second pot usually during your execute phase. But then, like on Mythic Blackhand, when you heroism in phase 3, your second potion is in phase 3, and usually it's just what lines up with, depending on how you lined up your cooldowns, right?
Yep. I mean,
fight dependent.
the second Storm melee will never line up with your Ascendance, right?
No,
So
nope.
you're pretty much always going to Ascendance with your second pot.
Right.
And that's just how it is. Unless the fight somehow becomes 10 minutes and you're getting a second heroism, you know? Like Blast Furnace on progression, where you got the second hero. Then, yeah, sure, you save your second pot for that second hero, and maybe Storm Alley's back up again. Who knows? And that might work out. But most of the time, definitely with the second Ascendance or whatever Ascendance happens to be at the point in the fight where you need to burn.
Right.
You know, like Chromog, sub 30%, etc.
Yeah. Alrighty then. If you guys have any more questions, of course, you can hit these guests up on their social medias or their stream, but I'm hitting the button because we're getting out of here. The delay today because of the ISP issues, I'm going to go call them right now and be like, why are you doing this to me? But thank you all for watching episode number 82 of Final Boss TV. Again, our guests are found here. And you can follow Binkenstein on the Twitter at Binkenstein. It's really hard to find him, as well as the Summon Stone Guide for Elemental Shamans. Thank you, sir. Do you take questions on Twitter, like, openly? Like, people can just ask you stuff?
Sometimes, if they're decent questions, I will actually, respond. If they're stupid questions that can easily be answered by reading the guide, I will probably respond with,
Fair enough.
Here's a link to something I prepared previously, or something along those lines.
That's fair. That's fair, but you can go follow him on Twitter right there, as well as you can go follow Tech on Twitch. There's the button, at Tekniqz, and you can go watch him throw lightning bolts and ask him things during the raid. Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure.
Here.
It's good stuff.
Thank you.
Are you going to be streaming your progression in Tier 18?
That is a very good point. A lot of people have been asking if, honestly, we'll be streaming progression. And the answer I give is I will probably stream the first 8 bosses because they'll die in week 1.
Right.
After that, probably not.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I'll take
so
that.
I'm happy to give back to the community. You know, stream the first 8 bosses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're definitely aiming high next year. US 7th this tier by 1 day. We were very close to US top 5, so we're aiming there. So it should be an interesting tier. But the first 8 to 9, definitely stream them. The later ones like Manaroth, Archimond, definitely not.
Definitely not. Well, I will counter that and say that I stream everything. So you can go tune in and watch me face tank. I'll be a panda though. I don't have to be a dwarf anymore for Tier 18. I'm so excited! Oh my goodness! And of course, you can find everything about Final Boss TV on FinalBoss.tv, our YouTube, our podcast, on iTunes and Stitcher, our Facebook, our Twitter. All that good stuff right there. And of course, you can see me 4 to 5 days a week streaming here as well on the channel. And next week is Discipline and Holy Priests. Our guests will be launched on the social media in a couple of days once I have them locked in. There's a couple that I've said like yes and no and maybes to, so I'm just trying to fine-tune the guests that'll be on the show on Sunday. So send your questions in right now for Holy Priests and Discipline Priests, or the healing meta as a whole. And we'll see you next week. Trust in your seal of tempered fate, everybody. And until then, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Tell people goodbye. Say
Yeah.
bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
There it is. There it is. Take a little prodding sometimes.
Yeah. Prod.